Have you ever said something in your mind or thought about something in a particular way and it didn't feel right, but logically it did? Well, today, what I want to talk about is using both the mind and body and how that can really impact you in a good way mentally when you use both of them and in terms of your growth. And if you stay until the very end, I have an extra point for you then as well. As always, if you want to reach out further or connect with me, you can find my social media links in the show notes below as well. So my story about working on my mind, my mindset, talks about a lot in this in the personal growth industry. And my introduction to personal growth was really sort of around 2018, 2019, when I found myself a mentor to help me write books, and she introduced me in this personal growth stuff, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing, you can do all these things, right? I just loved the idea that you could work on yourself. And if I look back at my life, there was always indication I was interested in that kind of thing. And I started getting into following a lot of motivational stuff. I followed Rob Dahl for a fair bit. He's got a huge podcast out there. Actually went in his coaching program and was able to speak to him. And then I started following Tony Robbins. And one thing I will say, and Tony Robbins is huge, one of the biggest names in personal growth out there. And these guys were amazing, right? And then Joseph McClendon, who I've worked for the last 2.5 years before I recently left, but still very much connect with him. But yeah, basically what I learned from these people is how you shape your mind into a great way. And Tony goes into very deep practices, and this is really beneficial. Now, a couple of years ago, I got really tested by life into living some of these things, and it was tough. And do you know what I learned? That actually I hadn't done enough work on the body. Now, these guys do touch on it a little bit, but it wasn't until I got really into somatic breath work and understanding what the body's storing was I able to work through some of the challenges, some of the emotions that were quite honestly very overwhelming and broke me down, even though I'd done all this mindset stuff. Doing my somatic breath work, and that's why I'm a certified practitioner. If you want to find out more about that, by the way, of course, you can connect on social media as well. I do offer sessions and various things with that. So somatic breath work for me was really beneficial because I was able to go into the body as well as work on the mind. And I think both are key. The body stores so much, right? You may have come across the conscious mind, what we're thinking about in this moment. So you're consciously, might be unconsciously, but probably consciously paying attention to what I'm saying right now. Subconsciously, all sorts of going on, all sorts of being stored. And a lot of that is in your body. Emotions, events from the past. So you go through quite a traumatic event, maybe you had something really nasty at work happen, but obviously there are extreme traumas, and it's up to you to decide what is an extreme trauma and small trauma for you. There may be an extreme one where there was abuse some point in your life. Unfortunately, that is the case with many people on the planet. And yeah, it's stored in your body, those instances, right? Even someone shouting at you, screaming at you. I've had that before, and it can be stored in your body and you just forget about it in your mind consciously. The body does not. The body keeps it stored somewhere in there, right? So the beauty of breathwork for me really allowed me to feel into those things. It's why do you want to feel into those hard things? Because they're storing up and you're able to feel them and therefore release them. There's a saying that goes, what you resist persists. So actually going into the body and feeling some of these tough emotions really helped me. So maybe you're just I've been doing a lot of mindset work, but there's still some blocks still. Well, for me, going into the body was a really beneficial one. So I want to go through a few points now, and very simple ones, to help you using what has helped me, using both the mind and body. The first thing is, of course, if you're not doing this already, be clear on what you want, not just focusing on the negatives, but what you want. The first thing is creating a mind workout. What are you going to do to train your mind every day? So it could be a bit of journaling, could be listening to an uplifting podcast like this one right now on a regular basis, or another one, awesome, as long as it makes you feel good. An audiobook, or maybe it's hanging out with someone who makes you feel good, although that actually does link to the body as well. Just putting as much good stuff into your mind as possible. Maybe you have to work out some like challenging conscious thoughts, and you're going to have to do a bit of journaling. Creating yourself a mind workout every single day. Maybe it's just 20, 30 minutes before you start work or you start your day, right? The second thing, creating a body release workout very regularly. For me, I like to do like 10 minutes of breath work every single day, and I like to do a little bit of meditation, just sitting there and observing what's going on. And meditation is really good because it can observe what's going on in the mind and body. It kind of does both, because you can like observe your thoughts consciously, what's coming up, and then you can also dive into the body and like what's going on, right? Oh, okay, I'm feeling tightness in the chest. I'm going to observe that. So I also do like a weekly session of deeper breathwork where I go really, or sometimes bi-weekly, I go really deep into the body and then feel the emotions I need to feel, like that have been stored up, and that can give a really good release as well. So that's what I'd guide you to do, creating your own like workouts that are going to deal with your mind and your body. And I find this having like this emotional workout, I call it my emotional workout, and I include both mind and body things into there. It's as essential as the physical workout. If you don't eat well, you don't exercise well, not perfect, but like on a consistent basis doing well these things, your body is going to deteriorate. You're not going to feel as good. You're going to lose energy. Well, the same is with your mind and body. Emotionally, you're not going to be as on top as if when you actually train your emotions regularly. And that involves, for me, using both mind and body practices. And then the third thing I'm going to share is checking in daily, checking in with yourself. I do this at the end of every single day. I will write down, okay, how am I feeling, like my energy and mood on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being like terrible, and 10 being like, I'm outstandingly awesome today, right? So at the moment I'm hitting around 7 and 8. So I'm like, okay, that went well, that went well. Okay, how can I improve that? How can I get it closer to 9 or 10, right? And sometimes circumstances, things that are showing up, admittedly, will boost me up. But I usually find by working on my emotions, things show up. Like I've been offered lots of opportunities recently, and that's no coincidence to the energy I've been working on. When I'm in down places, things are a bit more of a struggle and things don't just show up, right? Okay, so I'm going a bit into the spiritual side, but that's what I found. But just logging that has been really effective. So it's like 0 to 10, right? How am I feeling? And it's like, what did I do today? And just becoming consciously aware of like, okay, I had my vitamin D, my vitamin B, I did this emotional workout today, I did my identity statement 3 times today. Okay, that's interesting. So I've been doing those things and I'm getting like 7 or 8, sometimes 9s on that one. Oh, look, earlier in the year I was getting like 5 or below. I wasn't doing any of those things. Just becoming conscious to what I'm doing every single day has been really, really beneficial. Does it sound like a bit too much? Well, it takes me 2 minutes a night to do it. Do you have 2 minutes to work on your mental health? Well, that's up to you to answer. So we waste definitely more than 2 minutes on our phones each day. So again, it's just something that I found has really helped my self-awareness and able to work through my emotions in terms of my mind and body. Now, I've got a final point for you that I found is really beneficial to practice as well. Just want to mention again, though, that if you want to connect with me more on social media, you can do so using the links in the show notes below. My final point is this. Going for silent walks every single day. This has really helped me. I call them like quantum walks because I go into the scientific, spiritual side of things as well, whereby I get these like sudden ideas that I believe come from something outside of myself. So going for silent breaks every single day really allows your mind to reset and have that space to generate the ideas that it needs to, and also connect with how you're feeling. So that's something I'd highly give as guidance, having silent walks with yourself. And if it's like rainy and miserable like outside, I'm not going to lie, I'm in the UK and it's getting pretty cold and miserable, so I have to take a coat sometimes. Getting out in fresh air where you can is good, but even if it's just sitting in your home, finding a room ideally with no electronics, And just sitting there for like 20-30 minutes in silence and seeing what comes up is a really good way to connect with your mind and body. And then I'll make some notes of what I need, and then I'll include that in my journal process and implement it. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here, and remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.